go. Big day, first day of August. And for those of you file aficionado organizational freaks like me, isn't it nice to put July to rest and roll out August with the freshness of everything that awaits you going forward? Good to have you on board. We always do appreciate when you take some of your time, spend it with us here on the program, where intellectual anarchy is encouraged and nurtured for now. Marcelo, working the dials, Brad producing the program, emails at the website, jerrydoyle.com. Poll question up there for you today. A little bit of a brain twister. Of the following, who was the first to make comments to the effect that in order to be successful in business, you need to recognize the societal structures that were a part of that success? Was it Elizabeth Warren in 2011? Was it Benjamin Franklin in 1783, Barack Obama in 2012, or Thomas Paine in 1795? 15% say Warren, 18% say Obama, 21% say Paine, and 44% say Benjamin Franklin. But before we get to the facts, we figured we'd start the program off today with some rumors. Because if it's Whorehouse Harry Reid, and it's the brilliant mind of Al Sharpton on MSNBC, and if it's accusations about Mitt Romney never paying taxes for a decade, Adele steps forward with Rumor Has It.
We're back with a bombshell accusation. A month or so ago, a person who had invested with Bain Capital called his office and said, quote, Harry, he didn't pay any taxes for 10 years. Do I know that that's true? Well, I'm not certain, said Reid. But obviously, he can't release those tax returns. How would it look?
Wow. This is the state of politics and political discourse today. Whorehouse Harry Reid. Someone called me. I'm not going to give you his name because, God forbid, I do, and you find out that the person doesn't exist, or you actually contact the person to find out that that's not what the person said, much like Whorehouse Harry Reid has done in the past when he's trying to make some statement or address some issue, when he just makes people up as he goes along. Fictional friends that have fictional concerns about real problems, and Whorehouse Harry Reid always coming to the forefront. And there you have Al. Think about this, folks. You got Al Sharpton, the race baiter and the poverty pimp extraordinaire himself. The guy who is dumber than a post. Al Sharpton, a Baptist minister and a political civil rights and social justice activist. A candidate for the Democrat nomination for the U.S. presidential election. Ordained a Pentecostal minister at the age of 9 by Bishop Washington. After Washington's death in the 80s, Sharpton became a Baptist, rebaptized as a member of the Bethany Baptist Church, and the rest, as they say, is history.
We must and we will much about that be committed.
I don't know why I do any show prep. I really don't. I don't know why I waste my time actually reading, researching, cross-referencing, trying to put things in perspective, look at where we are, project to where we might go, contrast with what things have been done in the past that have worked, relative to things that we're attempting to redo now that haven't worked in the past, that won't work in the present, that somehow are going to affect our future to the betterment of society. I should just show up and make it up as I go along, and never have to be held to account for anything that I do or say, a.k.a. Al Sharpton. It really, maybe we should just go in that direction. Why don't we just sell out? And if we're going to sell out, we'll sell out hard right. We'll go Republican. Because I couldn't sell out hard left. Because as much as I would attempt to be a cheerleader, I couldn't cheerlead for that side of the aisle. I don't care how much money they throw at me. But how easy it would be to do a show every day where you wake up and just make it up as you go along. And if there's anything you don't like about your side, it's gone. If there's anything that you don't necessarily like about the other side, but you need a little bit more, to make the case, make that up too. And all you do is include and dismiss things that make your case or try to break theirs. And then you just cheerlead all day long. Now, maybe that's more exhausting than actually thinking about things and trying to come to solutions for the problems that we have. Maybe if I put on the pom-pom outfit, and that would be something we wouldn't do until the Skype feed was down after the opening of the first hour of the program. But I would just sit in the studio and just sis boom ba all day long. SUCCESS, that's the way you spell success. Yeehaw! And then we go forward and make it up as we go along. Now think about this. This is Harry Reid, folks. This is the Senate Majority Leader. This is kind of an important position, and this is obviously an important election because we're deciding which way we're going to go when we hit that proverbial fork in the road. Do we try to get back to somewhat free market capitalist principles under the Republican version of it, which is known as crapitalism, or do we go left and go into socialism and go past the 50% tipping point where we have more people taken than making? Because that's really the decision. And again, the decision between socialism or crapitalism, if that's the one that has to be made, I'm going with crapitalism under Mitt Romney. But Harry Reid is the grand poobah of all things Democrat, all things left, and just making this up. There's no checking. There's no finding out whether or not what this person supposedly said was what they said. But I guess in politics today, or in cable TV today, or in cheerleading radio today, you don't need no stinking fact check. Harry Reid said this in an interview with the Huffington Post, that a month ago, someone who had invested with Bain Capital called Whorehouse Harry's office to say that Romney didn't pay any taxes for 10 years. Now, for those of you who are not familiar, Mitt Romney was the former CEO of Bain Capital. Now, according to Whorehouse Harry Reid, this guy said he didn't pay taxes for 10 years. Harry Reid says, now, do I know that that's true? Well, I'm not certain, Harry Reid said. But obviously, he can't release those tax returns. How would it look? He also said this about Mitt Romney's wealth. You guys have said his wealth is $250 million. Not a chance in the world. It's a lot more than that. I mean, you do pretty well if you don't pay taxes for 10 years when you're making millions and millions of dollars. Now, I don't know what it's like to have $250 million because there's a certain rarefied air that those people breathe, $250 million, billionaires. And there's a certain something, secret handshake or knowledge that they have of each other where rich people know, wink, wink, nod, nod, how much rich people really have, wink, wink, nod, nod. Now, the only tool out there who tries to play up his wealth is T-Rump, Donald Trump. He's the only guy that when the Forbes 400 list comes out, calls Forbes and goes, nope, I'm worth more money than that. Everyone else tries to downplay their wealth. Now Harry Reid, who tries to downplay his wealth that he got through collusion and bribery and graft and kickback from land deals with the Interior Secretary and Indian gaming, he's trying to make it look like he walks around with his pockets out because he's oh so poor from Searchlight, Nevada, while he lives at the Ritz-Carlton in Washington, D.C. He knows about money because he's got money. He's trying to convince the Democrats that he's a man of the people. He's the man of the hole-in-the-pocket people. He's the man that's in your corner standing there waiting for Tiny Tim to get out of the way so he might have a shot at the goose on Christmas morning. Oh, can you feed a poor man from Searchlight? You don't want old Harry to go hungry for yet another holiday, do you? Harry Reid is a complete douche. That's all he is. Mr. Limpet. Oh, quiet, quiet, quiet little Harry Reid. And supposedly, we're supposed to believe that here comes some guy that supposedly did business with Bain Capital when supposedly Mitt Romney was there, who said and had knowledge of the fact that Mitt Romney didn't pay his taxes for 10 years. Rumor has it, Harry Adele Reid, trying to bait Mitt Romney into getting into this debate about his tax returns, releasing him or not. And here's the kicker. This is where you just really get a good understanding of just what a bottom feeder Harry Reid is. He takes a swipe at George Romney, Mitt's father. And he said that George Romney would be embarrassed about his son, because George Romney turned over his tax returns for 12 years when he ran for president. So far, all we've seen is Romney's 2010s and a partial of 2011. And Romney said when the 2011s are done, we're going to roll those out and we're going to show them to you. But here's Harry Reid, this loser of a person, this loser of a politician, this corrupt political insider, trying to use Mitt Romney's dead father, voices from the grave, to somehow embarrass Mitt Romney into releasing his tax returns by talking about how his father, Mitt Romney's father, would be embarrassed about his son. Maybe that's just a little projection on Harry Reid's part, because maybe everybody who's been around, involved with, or related to Harry Reid is embarrassed by this embarrassment of a supposed leader, Whorehouse Harry from Searchlight, Nevada.
The Jerry Doyle Show.
Isn't there anybody out there in Nevada who would like to run against Harry Reid in 2016? I mean, how much fun would this be to take this tool on a hill on? Wow. And that's the guy who's the Senate Majority Leader for the Democrat Party? Somebody needs to cut his legs out politically. 800-876-4123.
A month or so ago, Reid said a person who had invested with Bain Capital called his office.
I got back to my office and there was a call from Tommy. I'm not going to give his last name for fear somebody will look him up. Tommy called me, but I do have his last name.
And said, quote, Harry, he didn't pay any taxes for 10 years.